Hey everybody, it's Perry. I just wanted to stop in before this episode got started up and to let you know that this is actually from early on in the podcast process. This was recorded last October, actually, with my buddy Iverson, who works over at OBC in Lexington, Kentucky. Some of the finer details hadn't been worked out quite yet, such as like tips and bits, or even our review system. We hadn't included finish yet, and so I you're going to have a little bit of a different listening experience this time around. Also, the social media handles have changed. It's at My Bourbon Pod now instead of at My Bourbon Shop. And then we hadn't gotten the Patreon up and running just yet, but we have that now, of course, and that is patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. I have some good content, some fun content up there right now, and we're going to be getting more in the near future. So even for just $1 a month, you can go and check that out. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. It's a lot of fun. We have a really special review at the end of it, as you probably know by now, because you are, of course, listening to this episode. So I will see you in just a couple of seconds. Hope that you enjoy. Pour yourself a glass and, have some fun with us. And I will see you very shortly. I'm Perry, and this is this week's episode of My Bourbon Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast, the official show of This Is My Bourbon Shop, where we talk about all things bourbon, what makes it the spirit of Kentucky. My name is Perry. Thank you all so much for joining me again this week. And this week we got a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Iverson, who works at OBC here in Lexington.
Hello, how are we doing?
Doing great, man. How about you?
I'm doing very well, very well.
Good deal. Thank you so much for being on the show.
No, thank you. This is awesome. Excuse to drink whiskey.
Yeah, really, dude. Quick little background as to why Iverson is actually on the show this week. First time I came here to OBC, I wasn't really much of an avid bourbon drinker.
Okay.
And I remember having the conversation with you of you saying, well, what do you like? And I was like, well, I like Bullet.
I do remember this conversation.
Yeah. and you said, well, I got something for you that would be similar to the high rye profile of Bullet in our, meaning OBC's or BHG's, Four Roses single barrel OBSO pick.
The unicorn.
Yeah. And let me tell you, that was, I think, what really changed the game for me. Is like understanding that it wasn't just Maker's, Jim Beam, Woodford, and Bullet.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole world out there.
Yeah, I mean, doors really started opening, and then it wasn't just, excuse me, it wasn't just, the actual bourbon itself. It was then, putting a little couple drops of water in to change the flavor profile. And
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember that OBSO, that's like, I want to say all time, like we have over 100 different barrel selections.
Man.
And I haven't tried every single one.
Yeah.
Most of them, though. But I think if I had to say top 3 all time, I think everyone that's tried our barrel selections would say that was number 1. Yeah. Which is just like happenstance that you just so happen to try it.
Exactly. I mean, way early in my bourbon journey, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was nice to kind of get kicked in the right direction for
yes, that's sick.
For that. So, as you all know, we like to drink throughout the show because this is a bourbon podcast. And Iverson has lined up a selection for us today. And what do we have here today, Iverson?
So the first, we have a Blanton's. Altogether, we have, I guess, a lot of Buffalo Trace, actually, now that I think about it. But we have our Blanton's single barrel, OBC Kitchen single barrel. That one is pretty nice. I really like this one a lot, 93 proof. And then we have an Old Weller Antique, non-chill filtered. This is our newest Old Weller Antique pick. I think we did that about 6 or 7 months ago. And then we have our, I believe, third Four Roses pick, an OBSV. That is 9 years, 3 months. This is the closest thing we've done to that OBSO, that original one.
Yeah.
But that OBSO, the guy that picked that, he doesn't work here anymore. He is, he works at a Castle and Key Distillery. He's the
Oh,
whiskey
cool.
wizard there,
Cool.
Brett.
Yeah.
And I mean, he will tell you all day long. That's probably the best pick that we've ever done. But this is the closest thing I think to it. Just tons of oak.
Cool, man.
And I love this one. And then last but certainly not least.
Whoa.
Oh, surprise? Okay.
We'll hold off on that.
We'll hold it on for the last one.
Because that's once this is dropped, you'll probably already know what it is. But I'm trying to keep it a surprise because I'm really excited about it. So we'll wait until.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, man.
So
we'll go ahead and pour our first glass.
I love that sound.
Dude, it's so satisfying. And this is the thank you, sir.
This is the Blanton's single barrel pick, 93 proof.
Everything
Alright.
oh man. Oh, lots of fruit. Oh, that was a nice little effect there.
Nice little clang.
Yeah. There's a lot of fruit on the nose.
The thing I like about this a lot too is the one thing that I get from really good Blanton's, it's almost buttery and thick.
Yeah.
At such a low proof.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good. I want to say too that this is a 6-year-old and months Blanton's.
That typically is how they do their
Yeah.
picks, I think. Because I know that the Liquor Barn pick that just came out a few weeks ago was like 6 years and
It's a little bit of change.
8 months or something like that. But
this is good. I mean, the oak on it's nice.
Flavors just keep on rolling
And the
too.
beautiful thing about this is like classic sipping whiskey, but it's
Yeah,
like
totally.
you can totally just like, I kind of just say like, just be dumb and just drink it. Like it's because it's on the lighter side, You don't have to think about it so much. It's not like, the most complex thing you've ever had, but it's really nice, very well balanced, oak, acid, and it drinks well.
And I mean, I like this. I've recently had the just the regular Blantons. This is a pretty good step up, I think. I think that there's it's everything that I like about Blantons, just
Intensified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And that's why we picked it, because I want to say there was 6 different barrels of Blantons that we chose from, and we picked this one just because of spice on it. Like, you actually get that pepper that you get from those higher rye bourbons.
Definitely.
And it almost, it doesn't taste like a 6-year-old bourbon. It tastes older.
No,
and it doesn't taste like, it's not as light as a lot of other 90 proof. I'd say it's more heavier, like 100 proof bourbon. But you still don't get a ton of alcohol in it in a good way.
It really coats the tongue too.
Yes,
it's
like
just
thick, yeah.
So
that's buttery, like, and it's super. I don't know, super weird. I love it. This is one of my, and I actually am not like the biggest Blanton's fan. Like, as far as like Buffalo Trace goes.
Look, it's not my go-to by any means.
No.
But
I mean, it's $60 whiskey. I'd rather drink Elmer Tea or Rock Hill Farms.
I would too.
Yeah. But
well,
like this.
Elmer Tea, I definitely would rather drink. Rock Hill is kind of hit or miss for me.
Rock Hill is, yeah.
I mean, it's
Elmer
good.
Tea, I think at the price point is just like safe. You know what
Sure,
I mean?
yeah. And that's that's another one too that people have early on that they think is just unbelievable.
That changes most people's lives.
Yeah. And then they kind of come back to it a little bit later, and they're not as they're not as
that's
enthused
for
by
me.
it.
Like, I got introduced to whiskey. My introduction to whiskey was,
And this is actually how I was gonna jump into things. Was asking you how'd you get into bourbon and everything.
Yeah.
So by all means, go ahead. Yeah.
So my true introduction to whiskey was Evan Williams' White Label on Friday night, whatever it was called, for UK hockey nights or whatever, and we would drink.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have like midnight hockey games, and everyone just gets bombed and goes to these hockey games. And so we would put a bottle of Evan Williams in the freezer, and we'd take shots of that. And hot damn if anyone knows what that is. And it's a cinnamon liqueur. It is not good.
No, thank
It's
you.
like Fireball, but thicker and more sugar.
And worse.
And worse.
Worse is what
and
I was
higher
getting
alcohol,
at.
too, and higher
Yeah.
alcohol. It's bad, dude. Like, you wake up in the morning and the shot glasses would be like frosted and sugar, like caked on.
No, thank you.
But that was my true introduction to it. And then, I don't know, when I was about 22, I started actually drinking whiskey, probably on the rocks at that point. Just the classics, Makers, Woodford, that stuff. And then Brett, the same guy who picked out the OBSO, he actually handed me, he's like, hey, you've ever had Sazerac before? I was like, no. Like, there's a cocktail or something, right? And he's like,
Now, is this Baby Saz or
this
is
is Baby Saz.
Okay.
This is Baby Saz.
Okay, I didn't know if you were getting a BTAC.
No.
Saz
Oh, yeah, no.
as
He
your
didn't just
first-
give you a Saz 18, like, here you go. No. he gave me baby Saz, and he was like, "Oh man, it's rye, 6 years old. It's money." He's like, it's good. Like, and to him, this was like his good dirty whiskey. Like, this is what I get drunk on. And he was like giving it to me like, "Hey, try this nice whiskey," which it's funny because that's how I am now. But so like I get it, and I go home and have a couple drinks with my boys, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the moment I became a rye guy. And I think I actually, funny enough, came into, we drank that bottle. I got another one from him, and he gave them to me at cost. And
cool.
Yeah, he was super nice. And then I came in here for my birthday that same year, and it was like a couple months later, and I was sitting at this table we're sitting at right now.
Oh, very
actually.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
And my friend bought me a flight, and the flight she got me was, let me see if I can remember it exactly. It was Saz 18. It was Van Winkle Rye.
You got good friends.
I have really good friends. Lisa, shout out to Lisa. She's awesome. It was Van Winkle Rye, Saz 18, and I don't remember I want to say the other one was Kentucky Owl. I can't remember.
Jeez.
Like batch 1.
Yeah.
And dude, that Saz 18. I mean, the Sazerac already had me, and I was just like,
Yeah,
I was already in
totally.
with baby Saz, and then the Saz 18. I mean, just beautiful, elegant whiskey, man. That's the jam. So that was my start into it, and then ever since then, it was a couple of the bartenders here, Jake, who owns a bar downtown now, and then Brett, who works at Castle and Key. Like both of them, they kind of just force-fed me whiskey for the next year of my life, which sounds really horrible, right? Made me do blind tastings.
Gosh,
yeah.
That sounds just terrible.
Pretty terrible.
How would somebody
Live through
survive that?
Yeah, it was
and
bad.
Come out on the other end.
We have over 500 whiskeys, and within a year, I'd tried all of them multiple times
Wow.
too. So if that doesn't tell you, every single shift, I tried 3 whiskeys every single shift before I left. And at that point, I didn't even like Scotch or Irish whiskey, so it was those whiskeys
but
as well.
you do now though.
Oh yeah. I drink I drink every. I am an equal opportunist when it comes to spirits, gin, vodka, all of it. But definitely the whiskeys, I'm a fan.
Yeah. Well, I just tanked most of that Blanton's because it was so good. But oh my gosh,
I didn't notice it the first time until I let it really get in my palate. It has the beginning of it's straight brown sugar.
yeah,
and
it is,
then
isn't it?
It gets spicy.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I've never had a Blanton do that for me, so I'm good with that.
The I've always kind of found that picks are kind of hit or miss.
Yes.
but
Especially things that are bottled single barrel.
yeah,
So
totally.
Blanton's or Elmer T. Lee. Or
And single barrel bourbons. There's a lot to be said about the craft and the opportunity that goes into it.
For
but
sure.
At the end of the day, you're rolling the dice.
Oh, 100%.
I've had real good E.H. Taylor single barrels,
I've had really
but
shitty ones.
yeah, really, really bad ones.
So in your opinion, what would be the best and the worst? So what is your favorite single barrel? If you're blindly buying a single barrel, you know what I mean? Not a store pick, but a single barrel that you just think consistently puts out good single barrels. And what do you think is one of the most inconsistent ones?
Well, I definitely think that inconsistent wise, E.H. Taylor.
Yeah.
I've
And
never
that's $70
found,
too.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys feel, but to me, $70 is a lot of money.
It's a big dice roll.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with Chad of It's Bourbon Night, who has been on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
We just got an email today, from Liquor Barn about their release tomorrow.
Hey, you're the first to know.
Yeah, exactly. And we both agreed that one of the releases was the E.H. Taylor single barrel, and we were both like, I don't know if I want to wait in line and be disappointed coming out on the other end, because a few weeks ago I did that with their Weller Antique pick. And it just wasn't good. It was flat. It was a very
I actually have a
flat
friend
tasting
who
bourbon.
hates all Liquor Barn Old Weller Antique picks.
Really?
He's had every single, and I don't feel that way. I haven't had their newest past 2.
Yeah.
But the first 2 I thought were good. They're not the best ones I've had, but yeah, he hates them. Hates them. He thinks.
Yeah.
I will say this: he thinks they're super just flat, one note, just straight brown sugar. And it's oh well, you might as well just cut this and make this Weller 12.
Sure. Yeah.
This isn't exquisite. So.
But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, to wrap up the question, Four Roses single barrel has always been really
Preach.
it's always been really consistent and awesome. And I mean, even Blanton's too.
Yeah, no,
you know, I mean, it as far as consistent single barrels go.
Yeah.
I would definitely put it up there, but I'd have a hard time buying a single barrel E.H. Taylor.
Oh, dude,
in the future.
yeah.
Which is not,
I think I wouldn't have said that before, but I think absolutely I agree with you in the sense that at that dollar amount, it is way too much of a gamble.
Definitely.
Way too. Four Roses, if Four Roses was $100, it's still a good bet. I mean, because you're always going to get. So I agree with you on Four Roses. I think that's the most consistent single barrel program there is.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting paid by Four Roses.
You're not wearing a Four Roses shirt either.
I forgot about that. I'm legitimately just repping them.
on this audio medium.
Yeah. But I'd say the worst for me personally, and maybe because I just told you about my first bourbon story, it might make a little more sense. It's actually Evan Williams single barrel. And I don't mean it in their bad, because if I had to say one was necessarily like, I've had more bad ones than good ones, I'd probably actually say more Knob Creek.
Yeah.
And I love cask strength whiskey, but at 120 proof, sometimes it's lighter fluid. There's no flavor to it. But the Evan Williams, I've had some of the best whiskeys I've ever had out of those earlier Evan Williams single barrels.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I'll go buy another one and it's just trash. And I mean, those are like $35, $40, I guess. So it's not as much of a gamble. So I mean, I'm almost more inclined to go with you on the single barrel. But either one of those, I'm like, not worth the money for the gamble.
Yeah. You know, I've single barrel Knob Creek picks though. I've always been pretty
See, and that's the
happy
thing.
with.
Every single time I've ever bought in a store pick, I've always been happy with it.
Yeah.
Every single time I've went and bought a knob single,
You haven't been as happy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then maybe I think everyone, no, I don't think that. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. And like, I think it.
We're not holding you to anything on this show.
I really like, I mean, or maybe it could be this too. Maybe it's this. This could be part of it, that I feel like the store pick Knob Creeks are so much better than the knob singles, like this on the store shelf, that, I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah. Quick side note before we dive too far into this, I forgot to mention this up front. We are recording at the front of the house at OBC, so if you hear some glass clinks or sneaker squeaks or doors opening and closing, you know what's going on. And we're going to... Oh, that one didn't squeak.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
That's kind of nice.
Oh, well, that was nice.
Put some oil on that sucker. I love those doors.
Yeah, OBC is... We'll talk a little bit about this restaurant in particular.
Yeah.
Aside from it being just a really great restaurant, this is maybe my favorite bourbon bar in town.
And not to hate on anyone else, I really feel the same way.
Yeah.
I've come here for 3 of my last 4 birthdays. Like,
I think I have too, actually.
Right? Like and the only reason, no, actually 3 for 3 I've been here. So because
nice.
I was about to say that one year it wasn't open yet. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really like it here. Food's great. Craft cocktails are awesome. Whiskey selection's awesome. And there's other bars with better whiskey selection, to be honest. Like we just opened a couple years ago. So we don't have some of those whiskeys that came out 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But as far as just like what we do have, like we have, solid barrel selections, and the food,
Food's killer.
Chicken and biscuits, man, makes me so happy. I love the chicken and biscuits.
So let's move on to the next pour that you brought out for us.
This one, I didn't get to go on this pick. So this was funny because I didn't get to go on this pick. This is a Old Weller Antique, non-chill filtered, which, we can talk about that for 10 years if you want to, but non-chill filtered Old Weller Antique.
Next episode.
Yeah, next episode. And this one, I didn't go on, but I was like nervous about it. I was happy with everyone who went on the pick. One of the other bartenders, Justin, he said he loved it, and then he cracked the bottle and he was like, I hated it. And I was like, what? And then actually he tried it again after it had a little air. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, there's that. So far, I'm just getting a lot of heat on the nose, but
yeah, tons of alcohol.
Yeah,
but
it is 107 proof bourbon.
Yeah, right.
So.
The thing that I like about this, I already know on the nose, is one thing I look for in Old Weller Antiques, because you're always going to get like vanilla, brown sugar, caramel.
Yeah.
You get like a little bit of like red fruit, like almost like a fruity flavor, like raspberry or something like that.
Yeah.
and cherry.
Mm.
And
That is tasty.
yeah, I think this is probably my at home. I probably have I do have like 40 store pick Four Roses. I have 7 or 8 Old Weller Antiques. I just added 3 more.
Nice.
So I have
Killer.
like 10 Old Weller Antiques. This is probably one of my favorite things to drink. Like
Just in general.
I mean, when I'm drinking and I'm like hanging out with a girl, we're watching TV, usually I'm drinking Old Weller Antique or I'm drinking Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Yeah.
135.6 is my jam. But like,
Nice.
if I'm drinking, like if I'm tasting, Four Roses is definitely my favorite to taste along with everything else that I have.
Yeah.
But, no, I really like this.
This is really tasty. This is, again, one of the things that I think I like the most about your all's picks here at OBC, and I said this with the Blantons, it just takes the basic flavor profile and it just kicks it up a notch.
For sure, because this isn't boring like brown sugar. The cinnamon on this is intense.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. But it's not like you took a bunch of it and just kind of shook it on my tongue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like
exactly what you mean.
it's actually like it's in something else that complements the rest of the flavors.
No, absolutely.
So
Because the alcohol and the cinnamon and the brown, they all go together well.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were to nose this, I would have told you that it was 105 to 110. Drinking it,
Yeah.
I'd say it's 100. Like, I mean, or under 100. Like,
I
it
would
doesn't
definitely go
drink
under
like
100.
Yeah, it doesn't drink like 107, which is nice. And I don't know the age on this. I want to say this is right above 8 or at 8.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we got lucky on our last 2 picks. They've both been 8 years old. I want to say, don't hold me to that. I don't swear to that, but I want to say it's about 8
Yeah.
years old.
So how many picks have you been on? Well, that might be a pretty broad question, but
How many picks? I don't know, man. So, like, if we've done, so to make it easy, we've done 107, I think, as of today. Single barrel selections of various whiskeys.
man,
Yeah. And I think 53 alone are just from Woodford. So we actually have
Wow.
the largest account in the country for Brown Foreman.
and y'all just hit your 50th pick from
Yeah, we
from
just-
Woodford last month,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have this really cool bottle. They actually, the lady who's in charge of the barrel program for Brown Foreman, she actually made all the bottles and hand etched them in her garage, which she's very proud
That's
of.
insane.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Wow.
And she's super cool too because she always brings really cool swag whenever she comes by. Because we do a lot of the Woodford picks here now because we do them so often. So she'll bring by the samples of Woodford and give us Yeti like cups with like
Oh,
Old
man.
Forester on them, and like I'm like, dang, you just gave us like $100 worth of
Wow.
stuff for nothing. So yeah, they're really nice. But no, yeah, we do. We've done 53, I think, Woodfords alone now. About to do 54. And then on the other one, so that other 45 or whatever it would be, I've probably done 20, I think is a fair number.
Sure.
And then the ones that I'm most upset about not going on, that's the long list, is Smooth Ambler. We did a Smooth Ambler pick, went to West Virginia. Those guys quite literally just let you go around and drill in barrels. Like,
Wow.
they don't, it's not like other ones where they roll barrels out for you.
That's the dream, isn't
Yeah,
it?
dude, they just let you do your thing. Our cow pick is sick. Our Smooth Ambler pick is really good. That one, I didn't get to go on this one. I was really mad.
He's pointing to the
plans.
Weller.
Yeah, the Weller Antique. And there's another
For
one. that
those
I'm
who
really
can't
pissed-
see.
Yeah, those of you who can't see my voice. I've been on every single Four Roses pick, which I'm pretty proud to say. Pretty awesome. And then the first Maker's Private Selection we went on, I did not do that one. And I got to do the second one, though. So,
Yeah.
which
Obviously
the second one's better. But.
Makers is another one that's kind of been hit or miss with their picks.
Yeah, I will say this. I thought it was like going into it, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do a Maker's pick," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so shitty."
Yeah.
I mean, their goal is to like, "Hey, let's make the same thing we've been making for 100 years," which is great. Like, whatever. I'm not mad about that. Look at this guy. But going into
Is the door gonna
it,
be locked?
It's gonna be locked,
and
and
that's
it's
a
not even
shame.
4:00 yet. That's awesome. Damn.
Where?
But
We'll cut all that out.
I can't remember Casey. That's his name, Casey. He's in the bourbon groups and stuff.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, Casey.
He's obsessed with Colonel. He's
Oh,
like
is
the
he?
one that always. If there's a post about 4 grain, it is him talking about 4 grain. Yeah, he loves 4 grain.
It's just named the whiskey of the year.
Oh my gosh, can we please talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about that for a second, actually,
sure.
because we've been talking throughout just about picks, and a lot of what goes into picks is palates and how different people's palates can be. So I cannot remember for the life of me the name of the guy who named this whiskey of the year.
I should be shot for not being able to say this on top of my head. It's the same guy that said Crown Royal was.
Hold on while we look this up.
Research.
Yeah.
Jim, what's his name? Whiskey Bible.
And I'm going to finish sipping on this Old Weller Antique pick.
Jim Murray, that's who it is.
Jim Murray, okay.
My dude.
So Jim Murray said that the whiskey of the year was the Colonel E.H. Taylor 4 grain.
Yep.
And
he was not high when he said that.
But that kind of threw people into a frenzy because I haven't seen a whole lot of positive reviews about, or it's been mixed to negative. I think has been the best way to
extremely accurate,
put it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people hated on it when it first came out too, because I think straight up, if we're all just being real, if you compare 4 grain to cured oak, it's not even close.
Sure.
Everyone likes cured oak more. So for them to vote, I don't even think cured oak was even on the ballot, basically. For them to vote that over, it's just kind of, this is hilarious right now.
This is pretty.
Yeah,
for those of you who can't see,
everyday appearance.
Yeah, for those of you who can't see, people are trying to get into OBC, and it's not quite 4 o'clock yet. They open at 4 daily.
And we're closed for a private event today, which is even worse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you going to have to go out real quick and tell these people to leave?
I think I'm going to. At some point in my life, I'm going to have to tell them, I'm sorry, we suck.
It's just not going to
Yeah, we're having a private event tonight. Raising money for Jesus.
No.
But,
there's nothing wrong with
that.
that.
All right.
Hey, Jesus drank.
Jesus drank. But, no, yeah, his stuff's cool, though. I like, if any of you have ever read the Whiskey Bible, if any of you that are just now getting into bourbon or whiskey and you want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes, highly recommend the Whiskey Bible. It's something that, the descriptors on there, nuts. Rubber pellets that have been sweated on by doves. Crazy stuff. So, his descriptors are kind of off and weird. They're weird, dude. They're super weird. But,
oh, man.
I will say this. I've never disagreed with him on things that he ranks as. So, his 2017 rankings, so for last year was Booker's Rye won it. And then WLW was right behind it. He puts
BTAC?
BTAC, William Lee Weller. He puts it on there every single year, mostly. There is a BTAC that goes on there every year. And then
that's another conversation.
Oh yeah, it's another conversation for another time. But a lot of the other whiskeys, I don't really know that much about, and I'm not saying I'm the foremost whiskey expert in the world, but I drink a lot of whiskey, and then some of these I don't know an Indian whiskey. I don't drink Indian whiskey, so he'll put some stuff like that on there, or other Japanese whiskeys that maybe I don't know about. I love, and then last year also the Rye of the Year that's what didn't make sense to me. T Handy kind of won the Rye of the Year, I think.
It didn't get great reviews last year, though, didn't it?
No.
No, that's.
But he does weird stuff. This says that he chose the T Handy, the 2015 release, even though this is the 2017 Whiskey Bible Award thing. I don't know. Either way, though, he's never wrong. I never say he's absolutely wrong. The whole Crown Royal Northern Harvest pissed so many people off. How did a $25 bottle of whiskey beat out all these other crazy things? The thing is, Crown Royal Northern Harvest isn't completely trash. $25, it's okay. It's good.
Yeah.
Does it deserve to win Whiskey of the Year? Maybe not.
Probably not. No.
I think the same thing with 4 grain. I don't think 4 grain was as bad as everyone was heading it out to be. I think that cured oak was better by a lot, and so people were pissed off. They're hey, we wanted cured oak good. I was excited about the 4 grain. I thought it was going to be money.
Yeah, I think everybody was. Because it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that great. But Casey, who's waiting outside to come into OBC, he loves 4 grain. He actually defended it publicly. He's I told y'all this is going to go up to 7. Yeah, and it's funny because it's totally going to go up in price and go crazy.
Oh, it definitely will, just as anything does as soon as it reaches some kind of accolade.
I'm trying to remember what. Let me see if I can look it up. He had some other funny ones on there, but that was hilarious that I thought, oh, here it is. 4 grain. It was something else that was really funny on there. There it is. Beautiful 4 grain.
Oop. I mean, all of the packaging on E.H. Taylor is
clean.
Gorgeous.
Actually, I would say, if I had to argue, I'd say they have the best bottle shape in the business. As far as what I like, you know, that's like when I walk into a store, like that's like what I want to see.
Yeah.
Like it's just a beautiful, elegant bottle shape. It's a tall bottle. Looks like you're getting more. It doesn't look like a 750. Like it looks like a liter.
Now, part of the reason that this show was launched, as you all know, was because I started a bourbon apparel shop on Threadless, and you know, being a graphic designer, I'm always looking at like the packaging of different items on the market, and you know, especially bourbon, since I enjoy it.
People try to say like, oh,
well, no, it matters.
Doesn't matter. Everything matters. Nothing matters, and everything matters.
Yeah. Like, so I'll pose the question to you: has there been a bourbon that you've looked at and gone, well, I'm not going to buy that, based solely on appearance?
I am like the worst person in the world to ask that question to, because I'm all about like, I mean, you can ask anybody that works here. Like, if you ask me like any type of bourbon, I'm not the bourbon history guy. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Like, as far as, but if you ask me about any single whiskey ever that I've ever tasted, I'm going to tell you what it tastes like. I remember what it tastes like. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, as far as what's in the bottle, I care 10 times more about that. But as far as, like, taking random chances on bottles and just being like, hey, I wonder if I'll, I think the last one I absolutely said no to, that some of these new ones, like, I can't even remember. What's the one? It's aged in, like, Pinot Noir barrels. It's a new whiskey. It's, like, Slaughterhouse or...
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like
I know
that.
what you mean.
That didn't like really appeal to me. I'm a very classy dude. Like I like the. I'm not a classy dude, but I like the classic.
High class.
Yeah, high class.
Okay.
I like the classic. Like I like the
Ladies.
Pappy bottle shape. I like the BTAC shape. I like the Colonel. I like that tall, like, you know, Prohibition style looking bottle. Like I really really like the Henry McKenna shape of a bottle and like the tack stamp and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, oh, hey, Justin, do you want to tell these people that we're privately closed and blah, blah, blah? Or are you waiting for Casey? I like, he's like, yeah, I get to bounce people.
Yeah, all right.
But I like all those things. But I think the last one I said no to was probably like, some guy came in here a long time ago and told me about Jack Rested Rye. And I still haven't taken it seriously because I just can't. Because the Jack and the bottle, like their bottle style is so ugly to me.
I'm not a fan
like,
of it either.
Yeah, like the scrolls and I don't know. I hate it. Like, I don't know. I just hate it. But like Basil Hayden, that bottle looks like a $300 bottle.
Love
to
that
most people.
bottle.
Yeah.
Love that.
Like my mom bought me one for Christmas, and she's like, I didn't know if you had this. I just wanted to get you. It looked really nice. So, and I was like, thanks, Mom.
Oh, Mom.
She did get me a Blanton straight from the barrel though when she came.
Oh,
to town.
did she really?
She lives in St. Thomas, so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
cool.
super clutch. That shit is. I mean, dude, you gotta come taste it sometime. I mean, it's like, it's cool. It's like if somebody got dark chocolate and crushed it up in a bourbon bottle. Like it literally feels like there's dark chocolate in your mouth. Like it's crazy.
I might have your mom bring me a bottle of that next time she comes up. Then.
She totally will.
Yeah. Cool.
That's kind of what I'm getting on this too. A lot of dark chocolate.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the third. Third before we actually do our review. A lot of work on that cork.
Yeah, man. I've had, like I said, I drink a lot of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Yeah.
So with drinking Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, you end up those. If anyone drinks a lot of those, you'll know that like those the cork in those suckers, man. Like it loves the glue loves to come undone.
Yeah, it really does.
And I just think it's because it's 138 proof and it just like eats it away. Yeah, but either way, so like I open every bottle the same now because of that. We just killed a bottle of oh no, it's all good.
You sure?
Yeah, I still have some. I still have to work tonight at some point.
Yeah.
Which this is work, so.
Oh yeah, this is in a way, sure. It's all work if you love it. That's not true. That's not true by any means.
But this is an OBSV, and we were just talking how much we love freaking Four Roses.
Smell
9 years, 3 months.
Beach.
Right. Just reminds me of happiness. That's what it reminds me of.
Oh man.
This is super oaked out. I actually did a blind. We did blinds. We do a lot of blinds here at OBC Kitchen. I did a blind. Me and Justin did blinds probably 30 days in a row, 30 shifts in a row, so let's say. And I got almost all of them right. I think I missed on 5 of them and messed up something. One of them that I messed up was this Four Roses OBSV and Booker's, actually. So this reminds me a lot of Booker's. It's like the rye just is really weird on this one. I'll really enjoy it, though.
Booker's is another one that changes so often that it's hard to really pin down one release or another. I'm a huge fan of the Rockin' Chair.
Oh, yeah.
Release.
What's it
I
called?
don't remember the actual name of it.
What's the rocking chair one called, Justin? Do you know?
It's like Grandma's Rocker or something.
Yeah, it's like Off Your Rocker.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Justin is therefore
Tommy's Batch is dope.
Jonathan is this episode's producer then.
Yes.
As he's answering questions.
Yes. Answer all the questions, Justin.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a quick little sip of this because I'm really
Absolutely.
interested to find out what.
Yep, love that.
Yeah,
That
it
was
is
surprising.
pretty oak heavy, but
Yeah. The thing
it really opens up towards the end of the palate.
and there's so much. Well, one, I had a baby sip in mine, but like the cool thing, I was on this finish. Like you get those beautiful like rye spices and that citrus flavor that you really like out of
Definitely.
a rye whiskey. But like, I mean, it's all straight honey. Like it's straight honey in the beginning, which OBSVs are pretty straightforward. That's like, I mean, if I'm recommending Four Roses single barrel straight bourbon to someone, well, like they're all different, I guess, but the V recipe is just so, it's just so straight up. I really enjoy it. If you want to get funky, I usually tell people to mess with the F or the Q, but if you just straight up, like OBSO is my personal favorite recipe. It always will be.
Yeah.
Because that's just like hard hitting, high rye, let's go. OBSV being my second favorite for the same reason. But the Q's and V's, you get all that honey flavor on it. But this actually had a lot of like brown sugar and honey.
Yeah,
that I usually
for sure.
don't get.
And for anybody who has any questions on what the different letters mean in the Four Roses single barrel releases, excuse me.
Beauty.
At the bottom of this, I'm going to share a link to a cheat sheet for breaking down
For sure.
what all that
Extremely
means.
important if you want to be a real Four Roses geek.
Yeah.
There's actually a story I've spoken a lot about. Brett, he told me this story about this cat, about this bourbon group that I'm not supposed to name. I don't know if I'm not supposed to name it or not. I'm not going to name it.
It's not you're not talking about the Lexington Bourbon Society?
No,
you're talking
I'm
about
talking
an online group.
I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, Justin.
Justin,
I'm not going to say.
I called you Jonathan earlier. I'm sorry, Justin.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it. I can't talk about it. The Mafia. Is that secret?
The Bourbon Mafia?
Yeah, is that like for real? Oh, okay, I can say it. So Bourbon Mafia. This cat that's like in the Bourbon Mafia apparently. And he like sat down and did not a double blind, I guess. It was a blind of all recipes. 10 recipes.
Wow.
This is when Jim Rutledge was boss. So,
Wow.
And he got 8 out of 10 and switched up 2 of them. And they're like, sorry, you missed 2, And he's like, bullshit. I'm right. And he's like, tell your boys to check their shit. I'm right.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, seriously, like, you're wrong, bro. Like, you're wrong. You're just wrong. He's like, bullshit. I'm right. They double checked, and they actually mislabeled 2 of them, and he was right. So he got 10 for 10.
Oh, my gosh.
Picked them blind and told them that they were wrong. Like, so I don't think I could ever do that, and I, like, pride myself on blind tastings. And not because I think I'm always right, because I think it's a good exercise to see what you actually like.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
completely
and there's
agree with you.
I mean, we did a barrel pick. We did it with Brent Elliott, and we were talking about it. And he's like, "There's no way anybody." He's like, "I couldn't pick out the 10 recipes." And I was like, "Well, if you just said that, like,
then I'm not going to be able
yeah,
to.
there's no way I can." So.
Yeah, sure.
And then he said I had an awesome palate. It's the greatest moment of my
And he looked you in the
entire life.
eyes and he said,
Yeah, he's like,
he said, Iverson,
you have an awesome palate.
it's time for you to quit OBC and come work for Four Roses.
Oh my gosh, I was about that at one point. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be his person. He was going to New York they just won with the 2016 Small Batch LE. They had won an award, got second place or won an award for whiskey of something. I don't know what it was, but and he was going to New York, and it was right after there was a really bad thunderstorm that year, like really bad, like they actually ran out of power and they messed up their distillation, but. He was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, so can I, like, go with you? You need a bodyguard, a bartender? Like, what, you need anything? And he's like, no, I think I'm good. I tried so hard.
Have you had the 2017 LE release yet?
Yes. I've had the Al Young, and have I had the small batch yet? I've had the small batch as well, yes.
What'd you think?
Dude, I like him super like. Funny thing, I hate all small batch LEs, every single one when I first opened them. All of them. The 2017 I thought was good. I don't think it's as good as the 2016.
Okay.
I like it more than I like the Al Young, which I know I just grew like 10,000 haters
You're gonna catch a lot of flack for that, but that's okay.
Al Young is good. I think it's Al's my dude. But he's actually coming here tonight, I think.
No way.
I think he's coming here tonight for the private event. They're doing a Four Roses tasting, and he's coming here tonight. And I actually saw him after the Bourbon Chase, so Al's a man.
It's a shame that I can't stick around for that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's a funny dude. He has hilarious stories. But no, this 2017, if I'm remembering correctly, and I actually have it at home, and I think I've only drank it twice. I have a lot of Four Roses at home. So it's hard to like just go back to one. But I remember it being like on the sweeter side, which I didn't love. The oak was nice. The finish was very long, if I remember correctly.
Agreed.
It just didn't have enough. That's what it was. I didn't like the fact that it didn't have enough spice backbone for me. I wanted it to be a little stronger. It felt like a light whiskey, so it felt a little thin. I wanted a little bit more pepper. I wanted a little bit more rye. I wanted a little bit more proof. If I remember correctly, I want to say it's in the range of 100 to 107 or something.
I think it's
like
108.
Okay, so right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 108.
Which
and I know that I'm
that.
Like
it's not like
there are people at home screaming at us, going, if it's not 108, they're
it's 108.3.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, a lot of times I think those small batches lend themselves better to like that 111, 114 area. But I mean, that's my personal palate. As far as me paying, I don't even know how much I paid for it. 100%, I'm all down. It's a good. They don't make bad. Those small batches, it's almost impossible to screw those up.
Yeah,
I mean, you're taking that high quality of juice and you're blending it together. Like, they're pretty much always killer.
Definitely.
But the Al Young, man, I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it.
That's okay.
I like the Al Young. I really do like the Al Young. I still think the 2016 small batch LE is better. I think the 2015 small batch LE from Jim Rutledge is killer. That's one of my favorites of all time. But
we'll do a whole nother episode just on like most disappointing.
Oh my gosh, that would be so clutch. You could do one just on Four Roses, just like, you could do Four Roses from all the 20, go from the marriage up and just taste all of them.
Yeah,
that'd be clutch.
Well, maybe that's what we'll do in the future. We'll have you back for a disappointment episode.
Yes, I'd be good on the disappointment episode. I don't know. There's a couple in there.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do next, we've wrapped up just about as much as we can. We're going to move on to the surprise review. I'm going to be real honest. I didn't wake up this morning thinking that I was going to get to try this.
Yeah. I was just like, yeah, do you want to try anything in particular? He's like, oh, well, you got this stuff out here. And I was like, well, you can pick anything on the bar, really. I don't think anyone's going to care.
And there are going to be those of you who go, well, why didn't he try Pappy? Why didn't he try it?
It's true.
But you know what?
And we do have an old Rip 25 that he could have said yes to. I'm just joking. I wouldn't have done that.
Oh
but
my gosh, that's not. I would have absolutely vomited.
The only thing that you could have probably asked for that would be better than this, just because of timing's sake, would probably be we have a 24-year-old Willet. That's really cool, and I haven't tried that yet. That's the only bottle on the back bar, other than the old Rip 25, that I have not tried yet. I'm pissed about it. That's really it, or any of the Pappies.
Maybe like off air we could sample something else.
Yes,
so
I'm down with that.
But anyway, for the purpose of this episode, in its entirety, or in its confined nature, we are going to be trying, and this is an official uncorking too.
Justin, you want to sit down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to bring somebody else on, the official producer of the episode, Justin.
Yes.
We're going to be trying out BTAC 2017 George T. Stagg.
What we got here going on the proof? 129.2. We're throwing it back. I feel like that was 2016's proof?
No, 2016 was 144.
No, 2015, sorry. I feel like one of them was a 0.2 or no, it was like 0.1. Never mind.
Yeah, there we go. I knew before that even hit that was going to be satisfying.
Right. Very. So a little Stagg.
Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you much.
Yeah. This one's uncut, unfiltered too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uncut, unfiltered. I don't know, how old is this supposed to be? You probably know.
It's not 18 years, is it?
No, I think it's younger than that. Yeah, I think it's like
Is it?
12 or 13.
I don't know where I got the 18 from then. So
I know that these are. I will say this, as far as like secondary prices go on whiskey, which I don't know how much you cover that on your podcast, but
we have talked a little bit about it before, but we're gonna have a whole episode in the future about just secondary pricing because that's an entire hour's worth conversation in and of itself.
That might be 3 episodes.
Yeah, really.
As far as that goes, I mean, this is probably, along with the Kentucky Owl rye, these are going to be like some of the cheapest you can get for the quality, supposed quality. I haven't even tasted the Stagg yet, so
yeah.
I mean, as good as Stagg has usually been and supposed to be, getting it for, what is it, $375 right now? $375. I mean, that's pretty much a steal to be able to just get it whenever you want, and you can have it at your wedding and drink the whole bottle and not feel bad. Yeah. Like, I mean, I know some of y'all are like, "What? I pay $30 for my makers," and
yeah, exactly. So in
15 3 months.
15 3 months.
That's the youngest it says.
Oh, okay, cool.
Gotcha. So in celebration of trying this for the first time.
Oh, cheers!
Cheers, bud.
Yeah, to 15 3 month Stagg. Well, I can say one thing. Out of everything we've just tasted, this by far has the most oak.
Yes.
By far is the most tannic in a good way. Most acid. I wouldn't even say it's sweet at all, even. Like, not sweet.
Not particularly, no.
But I mean, the oak, I'm a complete whore for, like, rich,
period.
Like, wet, yeah, period. Complete whore. For, like, rich, wet wood, like chewing on, like, okay. As Justin slowly walks away and laughs. I just love, I didn't say wet wood.
Hey, this is my Bourbon Podcast. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Yes, wet wood. No, like, if you got a barrel, fresh whiskey, dumped it, sawed out a piece of wood, and just gnawed on it, that is my favorite whiskey. Because that's cast strength, like, just full of young oak. I don't like the dried out oak, the Pappy 23. It's not my favorite. Yeah. This, though, I mean, this is really good.
This is really, really good. The finish
especially for under $400.
The finish is really long. Mm-hmm. I think the oak is a little bit not overpowering, but I think that's the dominant
I mean,
note in it.
It's to the point. This is, and we just opened it, so I'm sure as it sits open for a little bit longer, some of this oak will lighten up, maybe. 0 alcohol, I will say.
I would say alcohol. The exact same thing, and at a 129.2 proof.
If you drink high proof,
insane.
Yeah. I mean, compared to everything else we've drank, and we've been up to 120. I would say that this sits right there at 120. Like, I mean, this isn't a big deal. I think I wouldn't mind serving this to a guest. No. This wouldn't be the first thing I pour them, but if they were getting a flight, I could definitely put this on the 3rd rung. Yeah. And they'd be fine with it.
There's some like burnt caramel in there too.
Tons of it. And that's the sweetness I get is burnt caramel. Yeah. That like burnt brown sugar flavor, that's going to be the sweetness. You get a little bit of cinnamon on the finish.
But it's taken me a couple of sips to really hit that caramel though, to really pin that down. So I think what we need to do next is add a couple drops of water in just to liven it up a little bit, see what we get.
Absolutely. I'm going to go 6 drops.
Wow, I'm going to go 3. 3 is my magic number for...
3 is the magic number.
Yeah. Let's see how it changes the nose.
So water is beautiful with whiskey. And for those of you that aren't water people in the whiskey, it's just, I mean, all you're basically doing is you're putting a heavier thing on top of your spirit, so it just pushes up all those lighter flavors that you can't really get into, especially at that higher alcohol level, too.
Well, now I'm getting some of the alcohol on the nose.
The nose is almost now gone, actually, at this point, because it's just straight alcohol. And that's what happens.
And I am getting a little bit of the caramel, too, on that.
Agreed. Brown sugar. And, like you're getting that heavy water. It's pushing up all that alcohol, perfumes, essentially just pure grain shooting in your nose.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how this changes taste-wise.
But, you're right. Definitely a lot more caramel and brown sugar. And I would have never said this before this. So one of my favorite descriptors that doesn't make sense is rose. And that's what I get on this. With the
Yeah.
water, it's a beautiful floral flavor that you don't
Definitely.
typically get from bourbon. You get from rye whiskey.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a rose flavor, like that light cherry flavor that wasn't there before. I think I like it, I don't know, experientially, as far as like how I felt full body. I like it no water. And I also on the palate, I like it with the water. I mean,
Yeah.
that floral note, it makes it way more complex, finishes just as long.
Yeah, definitely.
Not as heavy though, which I like that, but
No, I
pretty
think
damn cool.
I think it opens up quite a bit with the water.
Absolutely.
It completely changes it. And if you've listened to prior episodes of the show, you know that we opened up the William LaRue Weller BTAC 2017
that
release.
is magic.
And I wouldn't say no to this, but I would
Wow.
say yes to the William LaRue Weller before I said yes to this.
Agreed.
So
And there's a $250 difference between those two whiskeys too.
There are,
at the
yeah.
end of the day.
So
But still.
I'm throwing this at you kind of without you having any preparation. But recently we developed kind of a rating system
Cool.
for our review. And so we have 3 categories. Each of them are out of 5. And we go nose, palate, price. So
Awesome.
even though we've done with and without water, we kind of have tried to go, like an aggregate between the two. So we'll tally everything up at the end and, get your out of 15 score, which is a little bit odd, but, it
No,
works.
it
It
works,
works.
yeah.
Yeah,
It works.
exactly. So,
With whiskey, it works.
so for what would you say nose, palate, price on
On the Stagg.
Yeah.
On the Daddy Stagg. Nose palate price.
Daddy Stagg?
Nose, because it's a bourbon, it's already at disadvantage. No. Yeah, I'm a rye guy.
On the Bourbon podcast.
Yeah. Hashtag rye life. Yeah. So, no. So, for the nose, I would say for me, I would give it a. I'm going to go halves, or I'm just going whole numbers?
You can go halves. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going in between a 3.5 and a 4. And I am comparing it to rye whiskey as well. So I'm putting it all in there.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And then if I were to say out of everything we've just tried on nose-wise, I would like the nose of the OWA pick more than the Stagg.
I think that's
just
fair.
me being honest. As far as the palate goes, taste, with and without water. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you 2 numbers again. Without the WLW, like let's say I never tried WLW. I would go for the palate. I'd give you a 4.5 probably on both. But comparing it against the WLW, I'll give it a solid 4.
Okay.
I think it's amazing. Just that I tried the WLW and I was like, oh, this is the best that BTAC has to offer this year. I mean, because that is just a phenomenally balanced, really good bourbon. I don't even like Weeders. Like, it's kind of annoying. Don't love Weeders, I should say. And then as far as price goes, based on like retail price, $85 or $115 or whatever it is.
Yeah, 115. I
Oh,
think.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
A 10 on price. As far as a high quality whiskey, this is a 15-year-old 3-month, I think is what we said.
Yeah.
There
At
isn't-
the oldest.
yeah.
I think,
So 15 years old, I mean, dude, there isn't 15-year-old whiskey for, I mean, that doesn't exist for under $100. Like,
No.
I mean, I know not everyone's in that price point, and that's fine. Like, there's other things, but at $100, like, yeah, you're stealing. This is with water.
This is with water.
Yeah.
So it opens up.
Like, you're stealing at $115 for this thing. $85, $200, you're still stealing. And I think the secondary price of $375 is not only fair. I'm probably gonna go buy a bottle now. So, like, seriously. And the WLW at $650, like, that's expensive. I don't have $700 to spend on whiskey. If I did, I would buy WLW, but I feel a lot safer. I'd rather buy a Stagg and a Handy for that money than just buy the.
You prefer a handy?
I love a Handy. A good Handy goes a long
I mean,
way.
it's got a lot of big dry wood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of big dry wood.
A lot of
Justin
caramel
says
on
it's
the
a lot
nose
of big
comes out
dry.
of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's what we were saying,
A
too.
lot of caramel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were saying like the caramel, like you didn't get it all at first, and then with
No.
the water. Yeah,
No,
for sure.
I walked all the way down to Drake's and still couldn't feel my tongue.
He said he walked about 100 yards outside and came back. So 200 yards of walking, about 5 minutes. He said he still couldn't feel his tongue on his way back. So
Good.
that's
Good.
the Daddy Stagg
So
experience.
recap. You had
I have no idea. We've been drinking whiskey.
Okay,
No.
so you had like a 3.5 on the. I'm gonna round down just for the sake of.
Okay, making life easy.
Yeah. So you had 3.5 on the
nose.
On the nose.
And then 4 for the palate.
So that's 7.5.
And then 5.
And then 5. So that's up to 12.5.
And you can do math and I can't.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me on the nose, I think overall I would give it a 4.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's got the I'm a huge fan of caramel on the nose and palate for that matter. So I really liked it, but there was something missing. I think that would have just pushed it over the edge a little bit.
Agreed.
Palate, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. I wasn't not that I didn't like it. I really do like it. I just was not as impressed by it as I think, and kind of overall, it did open up quite a bit with the few drops of water that we added.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, the basic bourbon drinker is not going to be adding with a dropper 3 drops of water to it.
I agree with that. And I also, you're about to get to your third, which will be price, which is this one I should save to say this, but, I cannot ignore value ever. That's why I do a lot of blinds. And
That's not mine.
and I guess I just look at it as at $100, you're getting a killer whiskey, period. But still, I think you're completely right in the sense that there are, just to be frank, there are Four Roses OBSO, George C. Stagg. Right next to each other, the OBSO, our original OBSO, and George C. Stagg, which one would I rather drink? OBSO all day long. For all 3 reasons. Better price, better taste, and better nose. Blind.
No, I completely
would pick that. You know what I mean?
completely agree with you.
So I guess when I'm not the biggest Daddy Stagg fan, but I like Stagg. I'm just not rootin' tootin'. But I guess when you compare it to other Staggs, I would say overall that this is what I would expect.
Yeah.
And cask strength, oak, cherry.
I've had Stagg Junior that I think I've liked better than.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Calling him out, bro. He said he likes that 130 better.
I mean, I'm
Damn.
sorry. It's just how it goes.
I can hear that.
But
I
I
can
think-
feel that. I don't drink Stagg Junior that much.
Yeah.
The 130, the newest release, the second to newest release,
I've not had it.
It's pretty killer. The 130 and the
Now,
first release.
And on price, I think I'm gonna go with a 3.5 again. Just and it
Killing them.
it's. Look, I really do like this. I'm not trying to shake it or anything. It's good. It's really good bourbon.
Yeah.
But
You're going for the normal, I buy this when I go in the store kind of guy. This
yeah.
is expensive. I will say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot put myself in that. My girlfriend talks shit to me every time. Michter's single barrel rye is my jam. $85. I smoke cigars with it.
Yeah.
I drink it by itself. I get drunk on it. It's my favorite. And she's always talking smack to me. She's like, "Oh, well, why do you give that out to all your friends? It's nothing." I'm like, $85 is cheap for this.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is I'm paying $85 for what I would consider a $250 whiskey, and I'm getting it for $85. So I don't care if my friends want to drink it and stuff. But at the end of the day, I told you this in the beginning, $85 is a lot of damn money. And $100 is a lot of money. So I guess it just kind of depends on which side of the fence you're looking at.
yeah. So I'm gonna stand firmly at my 3.5, just because I think that the BTAC is storied. It's got a lot of hype over it. I just don't know if for the price this really stacks up. But I just said it's not bad.
Yeah.
It just might have been a little bit of a letdown. But I hope that I get to try this again in the future. Maybe,
sure.
one of the things about uncorkings, immediate uncorkings, is that you're trying something that hasn't been able to breathe.
Yeah.
For any period
those
of
high
time.
Alcohol, they need it. They
They do need a little bit,
weeks,
yeah.
to just kill it off some.
So hopefully I'll be able to revisit this in the future. If not, I'm not upset by this at all.
Yeah. And I guess just looking at the overall whiskey landscape too, it's there's so many bottles out there right now. They're $75-$100.
Right.
And I will say this that disappoints me as far as all the old, the BTACs, the Pappies. I feel like they're all down in quality. I mean, if I'm just being frank, they're all down in quality.
I think that's fair.
And it kind of sucks because, BTAC, we've been paying $85 for this for the past decade. We're paying a little bit more, which I don't think anyone really cares the extra $20, $30. but you're not getting the same product. This Stagg is not as good as an 09 Stagg. It just isn't, you know.
And that's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah, sucks. It's the landscape we live in.
So just to quickly recap, Iverson rated the George C. Stagg 2017 release at a 12.5 out of 15, and I gave it 11 out of 15, which is to say which is to say that it's good, but I gave the WLW higher.
Yeah, I would get my. I don't have kids, so that's why I can say this shit. But I would get my kids Christmas presents before I would buy a bottle of Stagg.
I think
it does not make me that happy.
I would too.
There's bottles of Logitech Barrel Proof that I'd rather drink over this. There's Four Roses Single Barrels I'd rather drink over this. There is the 2016 Michter's 10-year-old Rye I'd rather drink over this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the same. Well, no, it's not. But yeah, there's a couple things I would rather drink over it. But I mean, if you have a disposable income and you have $350,
by all means.
yeah, it's a good whiskey.
Yeah.
Definitely worth 115. But
yeah,
it's just one of those things. Like, the thing that sucks is when you can spend $65 on a Four Roses store pick. Like,
that is amazing.
I'd rather, you can buy, 6 of those for the same price.
Definitely.
I would kind of go at that.
Well, Iverson, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, sir.
We really appreciate it. Look forward to having you back in the future.
For sure. For the letdowns. Maybe this will be on the letdowns.
Yeah.
I guarantee 6 months from now, this is my statement of the day, my ignorant statement of the day. I think this bottle will be below I think it'll be at $300 as far as secondary value goes.
I think that's fair.
Because of what I just tasted, and also because even though I know I was high on it, but there's so many of them. I don't know how many bottles. There's over 10,000 bottles of Stagg. There's a lot. There's a shit ton.
Yeah.
It's not 40,000. It's over 20,000 even. Like, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's going to go down in value, just like the Kentucky.
Oh, absolutely.
Those Kentucky All Ryes are money for 11-year-old cask strength rye whiskey, but I mean, same thing. Like, there's just too many of them. So, yeah, it'll definitely go down in price. So I would wait.
Cool. So, Iverson, if people want to find you on social media, where can they do that?
They cannot.
Then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
All right.
If you want to find the show, we are at My Bourbon Shop on Instagram and Twitter, I think. If you want to email us, it's thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. If you want to find my personal stuff, it's pritter1492. Iverson, again, thank you so much for being on.
Come check me out at OBC.
Yeah, for sure. Come to OBC in Lexington. This is a hidden gem, I think, amongst other restaurants in town.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or come have a drink not at my restaurant. We can just go chill. I'm down with that too.
For sure. But anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Give us a rate and review on iTunes or Google Play or whatever you're listening to us on. We look forward to hanging out with you next week. And until then, my name is Perry, and this is My Bourbon Podcast.